Hi, third graders. Welcome to our vocabulary purpose for the week. I can use root words to determine the meaning of unknown words. So let's ask ourselves, what are root words? We have read root words throughout third grade, and a root word is the simplest form of a word. When you read an unfamiliar word, you look for that root word. Then you use the root word to figure out what the word means. So the root word can stand by itself and still have meaning. For example, we have this sentence, and our tricky word that we're going to identify the root word is in bold. The boat is unsinkable. It will never sink. So if I look inside of this word, I see a root word, sink. And in this case, we have a prefix that can be knocked off the word and a suffix that can be taken off the word. So what did I do? I just looked inside the word. I'm going to look outside the word, and then I'm going to plug in a word that makes sense or a phrase that makes sense. So when we looked inside, we found the root word sink, and we found the prefix, which means not. So I'm already thinking about what I know when I look inside, to not sink. We look outside. It will never sink. And now we plug in. Not able to sink. The boat is not able to sink. It will never sink. And that sounds right. It makes sense. So we just determined the meaning of this tricky word by looking for the root word, looking inside, looking outside, and plugging in. Again, our purpose is I can use root words to determine the meaning of unknown words. So our directions: read the sentence, write the root word on the line, then circle the correct definition. So I'm going to use that strategy of looking inside the word, looking outside the word, and then determining the meaning, plugging in. So number 1, the barking dog was loud. What do you think the root word is? Look inside of that word. Let's check your thinking. Bark. Bark can stand on its own. Okay, let's look outside of that word. So it says the barking dog, so dog, the dog is barking, was loud. So now if I plug in the yelling dog was loud, the crying dog was loud, those sound right and make sense. Let's see if there's anything that matches. Bark, the outer layer of a tree, or B, a loud cry from a dog. Which one do you think makes sense? Let's check your thinking. A loud cry from a dog. And that matches our context clues when we looked outside the text. So we just used our root word to determine the meaning. Let's check number 2. The pilot was checking the plane to make sure everything was running correctly. Okay, so our word in bold, we're going to look inside for the root word. Go ahead and identify that root word. Let's check your thinking. Run. Does that match your thinking? So the pilot wanted to make sure the plane would run correctly. Okay, so let's look outside of the word. Plane and correctly. So I know a plane doesn't move its feet fast, but it can work correctly. So let's plug that in. The pilot was checking the plane to make sure everything was working correctly. We just plugged in a word. Now we're going to check and see if one of our choices match. A, moving at a fast pace, or B, working. Let's check your thinking. Working. All right, last one, number 3. The pilot thinks the plane is unbreakable. What do you think the root word is? Look inside of that word. Let's check your thinking. break. Now we have to look outside of the word. The pilot thinks the plane is unbreakable. Well, plane, and now I see the root word break, but that prefix un, what does that mean? Okay, now use what you're thinking and make a choice, A or B. The pilot thinks the plane easily shatters, or the pilot thinks the plane is not able to break. Choice A or choice B? Okay, let's check your thinking. Does that match your thinking? Choice B. We just used the root words to determine the meaning of unknown words.